Okay, hello everybody. Alright, today we've got a little treat for you. We're going to actually show you how we make one of our pieces, at least part of the process. We can't show it all to you because that would be giving away some of our trade secrets, and we're just not ready to do that. But we wanted to share with you some of the techniques that we use and how some of the things are made. We'd be getting requests from folks to say, hey, we'd love to see how you do it. So here's a little piece of how we do it. And let me preface this by saying that we're not going to show you how we do any of the artwork or any of the computer work or how we actually cut the design out into vinyl, but we are going to show you actually the process of etching and carving the glass. So we hope you enjoy it. Now, I'll explain a few things to you. What's attached to the glass, it's actually a bowl, is a vinyl resist, and the design that we created we actually cut with a vinyl cutter and we applied it to the glass, so you'll see that in the first clip, and then after that I'll show you the finished piece. Alright, enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, let's get started here. As you can see, what we have here is we have the piece that has the resist and the pattern and design attached to it already. And you can see where I've already cut through part of the top of it. That's kind of what we're showing you here. So this is where the pattern is actually attached to the crystal. Now, at this point we're in the blast room and I'm cutting through around the outer edge of the design. And what I'm trying to do is to cut through the glass to create that upper edge. Now this takes a lot of time and a lot of patience and I have to admit a lot of skill. Now I've managed to cut through all the way through the area I was blasting, so you can see the glass that I pulled off. Now that takes a lot of time, believe me, and a lot of patience. So at this point I've got my sandblasting hood on and my air supply, and now I'm starting to carve into the glass and to carve the flowers out. Now what I'm trying to accomplish here is I'm trying to accomplish depth, and you can see that part of it turns frosted, and that's just the beginning of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carve deep into it. Now if you pay close attention to the edges of the resist where I'm blasting, you can see the blue area and the resist area, which is kind of a light gray. If you watch the edges of it, you can actually see shadows start to form, and that tells you how deep I'm actually carving into it. And that's what I also use as a gauge, other than my fingers and my eyesight. I mean, I use the shadow from the resist to tell me how deep I've gotten. So I'm going back and forth, carving, getting depth, and you can see those little pieces of resist that were left on there that I so tediously pushed down and tried to make sure they stayed. Well, those are staying in place, and they're actually going to be raised because everything else will be carved around them. So see the shadows starting to form? Now what I'm also trying to do is I'm also focusing on carving some variations in the flowers. It's hard for you to see here, but if you actually see the final piece, you'd actually see where the flowers look like they're raised or curled and have little different textures and variations to them. That's part of the art of this. Now watch the edges of this one carefully. You can really see the shadowing start to take effect, especially on the bottom edge of the etching and the right hand side. You'll start to see the shadows form when I go over to that side. You can kind of see the shadows forming at the bottom of this left hand side. Okay, now watch this right hand side. See how it gets darker and darker and darker? That's the shadow forming because the glass is being carved away and carved the depth to separate the individual elements of the flowers.
Okay, I really hope you enjoyed that segment that showed you how we actually created this bowl and I want to show you the final piece. And here it is. This is a nice teal colored bowl, and we carved the flowers into it. And I'll put it up close so that I hope you can see it. Hopefully you can see the flower petals and you can see some of the detail in them. And there's a deep carving. Now here's the back of it. And you can see obviously the edges that we cut out. Okay? And you can see the petals, these are the leaves that I was talking about earlier, where we actually do the shading. So here's the shading done on the leaves. And everything is deep carved to overlay each other, so that they show depth and show petals overlaying each other. So that's the technique, and that's the final piece. You'll be able to see more detailed pictures of it on our fan page on the photo tab. So come out, take a look, give us your opinion. We really love to know what you think. This is our latest functional art. So thanks again, and please let us know what you think. Thanks. See ya.